Is the rapture before or after the tribulation? It's become kind of popular today in the last 2 or 3 years to believe in the rapture occurring at the end of the tribulation. There have been 3 positions historically: pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib. What that means is the rapture occurs at the end of the tribulation, post-tribulation, the middle of the tribulation, mid-tribulation, the beginning of the tribulation, pre-tribulation. Now, if you wanted to catalog me, I would have to claim to be a pre-tribulationist. I believe the church will be taken out before the tribulation. Now, if you would like a full-length answer on that, we have a series of tapes on that very subject, so I'm not going to go into that, other than to just give you 2 reasons that I believe are the most difficult reasons for a difficult argument for a post-tribulationalist to deal with. If a person comes along, and this is popular today, there are a lot of people who want to go through the tribulation. We got sort of a martyr complex, in a very mechanized society and a very high-powered society and a very easy kind of existence. A lot of people they kind of think it's neat to go through the tribulation. And they see the movie about Thief in the Night, and they can see themselves running from the beast and all this intrigue. And I think really, now, I'm saying this truly because this is happening in the minds of not the educational people, not the theology people so much as it's a popular kind of thing. And I think Hal Lindsey's books, which took a firm pre-tribulational stand, forced some theologians out of the woodwork to write on a post-tribulational position. So you have the theological battle, and it's going on in those 2 positions, but you have this new popular thing, and sometimes I'll listen to those Christian television programs, and they're talking about, I'm not convinced that we're going to be taken out. I think we may go through, and it's all very dramatic. Listen, folks, I don't want to be there. It doesn't sound good to me at all. If I have my choice of being here with the beast and being in heaven with Jesus, it isn't even a question. But aside from that emotional argument, which doesn't hold water, that's just me, there are 2 primary things that you have to deal with if you're going to take a post-tribulation position. One is the sheep and goat judgment. In Matthew chapter 25, at the end of the tribulation period, Matthew 25, you have a judgment occurring. We know that it's at the end of the tribulation because it discusses the tribulation period in chapter 24. We know that the abomination of desolation occurs in the tribulation, 24:15, and all these things, and so forth. And then verse 31 of 25, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory and all the holy angels with him, and to sit on the throne of his glory. Now what's that? That's not the rapture, is it? That's got to be the second coming to set up the kingdom. When he comes in his glory to sit on his throne. Now the post-tribulation position says this, watch, that at the end of the 7 years, there is a quick rapture and a quick return. You go through the tribulation and up and back. There's a big problem with that, and it's this. If all the regenerate people go up and come back, then how come when Christ comes back, the first thing he does is separate the sheep from the goats? Who are the sheep? See? Who are the sheep? You can't be Christians because there aren't any left. They all got raptured. But if you move the rapture to the beginning of the 7 years, then you have a 7-year period in which people will be saved that will constitute the sheep at the end of the tribulation. Understand? So if you jam it all at the end, I see that as the major problem of a post-tribulational view. Where do you get the sheep for the sheep and goat judgment? Because if Christ takes all of us up and comes right back, there aren't any sheep left. It's not going to be a problem to say, you sheep come over and go into my kingdom, and you goats here. There aren't any sheep left. They've already been raptured and glorified and all set. That's the first problem. The second one, and I think they have to face if they take a post-tribulational view, is 2 Thessalonians 2:1. These are primary arguments. There are many others, but these are just ones I'll give you quickly. 2 Thessalonians 2:1, and I think maybe these are the 2 best arguments against a post-tribulation position. Some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. You just relax and do whatever you want, and we'll be back in a minute. 2 Thessalonians 2:1. Now we beseech you, brethren, now listen, by the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and by our gathering together unto him. Jesus is coming says Paul to the Thessalonians, and we will be gathered together unto him. Episunagoges, a gathering together. It is used only one other time in the New Testament. That's Hebrews 10:25. And in Hebrews 10:25, it says, forsake not the synagogues, the assembling of yourselves together. It is a word reserved in the New Testament for gathering together of believers. So, the Thessalonian Christians were saying, oh, are we already in the time of trouble? Is it already too late? And he says, now wait a minute. We beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Jesus and our specific gathering together to him, don't be shaken. Let no man deceive you. And then he says, I believe that after that will come the day of the Lord, and then the falling away, and the man of sin is revealed and all of that. But I see as the primary event the gathering together, a special gathering together, a special coming together of the church, a unique one, separate from anything else. And I think 2 Thessalonians 2:1 has a great amount of weight toward that end. So, my belief is that the church does not go through the tribulation. And again, I would say that that's just putting it together the best way I can. It's a very difficult problem. There are many other reasons that I've tried to share with you, and I stand on that ground, and we'll find out sooner or later. And I feel like Dr. Sosi, who said, I know there are some errors in my theology, I just wish I knew where they were.